Hey everybody, we're back with another episode of We Should Have Recorded That. Um, this is going to be an interesting episode. We decided we needed to record it because I'm feeling a little angsty today and I'm trying to tackle some things. Mercury is in retrograde and technology is just not being my friend right now. So we figured we'd hop on here, record an episode so you can see the nitty-gritty of the ins and outs and highs and lows. So
I
I
love it.
think today's, episode is mostly going to be about the new technology we're trying to employ and how it's kicking our butts.
Yeah, sometimes that's what you gotta deal with in wading through all this muck and mire to get to something successful. So, yeah, I actually really wanted us to record this because I wanted to take notes on everything that you learned today. It sounds like you and your business partner met with another podcaster and got some tips and tricks, suggestions of different programs and platforms that she is utilizing in sharing her podcast. And it sounds like you got some really great information, so I wanted to pick your brain about that because I also know that I need to head in that same sort of direction. And obviously, of course, for this podcast too. So, we'll just get a whole bunch of birds stoned at once and hopefully get some good information. So, if you don't mind, start sharing with maybe however your friend Jessica shared the information with you. How did she guide you into how to set up your podcast and share it?
I really should have paid attention to her podcast name. I think it's Sober Life Stories is
Mm,
her podcast. She's just started it recently as a way to help her promote her upcoming memoir
mhm.
about her, I think, 18 years of sobriety.
Wow.
And so she's having people come on, and it's basically an interview style podcast where she has people come on and share their own stories
Mhm.
of sobriety and the impact it's had on their lives. And so we were talking to her because Stephanie had connected to her through a different online community group a couple years back and knew that she had just launched this podcast. And so she's in sort of that newbie zone that we're in
Mhm.
and thought that she might have some insight she could share with us as far as like the starting out point, what she found to be helpful, and just wanted to like pick her brain. Plus, we saw that as a future kind of networking opportunity. I've been sober for 2 years now, so that would be the kind of podcast I would be interested in going on, especially ahead of publishing my own memoir, which
Definitely.
does discuss my, drinking and my sobriety, but is not the like sole focus of my memoir. Plus, since Jess is writing her own memoir, then we thought that at some point it might be fun to have her come and interview in our community and just share with people about her process of writing the memoir and publishing and all that. It sounds like she's going to go the traditional publishing route, which is interesting to pick people's brains about what that process looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good to
So
have
mainly,
fun.
she told us that, she really started out with very little social media following. She had been locked out of her like Facebook account after inactivity for years and had to basically start from scratch as far as social media goes. So it was interesting to be able to hear how she was doing it because similarly to Stephanie and I, she was building her social media presence at the same time that she's releasing the podcast.
Mhm.
She wasn't launching already to, a following. So
Right.
that was good insight to have.
Mhm.
She follows Pat Flynn, who
Okay.
is a big promoter of the Buzzsprout podcast hosting and distribution service.
Okay.
And since she and Stephanie were both already familiar with that through following Pat Flynn's advice,
Mhm.
that we were interested in having her show us, like she screen shared, what kind of features it has, how easy it was to upload and manage her stuff. We
Mhm.
could see how many times each of her episodes had been downloaded, what platforms it was available on, like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, those sort of things.
Mhm.
You could even see like overall which episodes were most popular, like there's bar graphs and stuff, as well as where the downloads were coming from. Like she even had two in Asia, which was really cool.
So neat.
And then she literally just started. So most of her episodes I mean, I think she looked like she had posted a couple of them right at the launch at the end of November and then one a week since then.
Hmm.
So she just got 7 episodes up right now, but she already has downloads of probably averaging 50 per episode.
Since the beginning of
Um,
November, you said?
the end of November.
Whoa, okay.
She launched, like, she put a couple episodes out there in the beginning, like that's pretty typical when you launch a podcast to want to have just a couple, more than one for people to listen to from the jump. So I think she had like 3 or 4 from the beginning, and then
Mhm.
she's posting on a once a week schedule.
Okay. Hmm.
And so she
And
showed
real
us that it was really cool to see the stats and stuff that it provides, the insights that Buzzsprout provides.
Yeah. And so Buzzsprout is a hosting platform that disseminates information or that disseminates the podcast to all the different other podcast avenues. So it's you basically upload your video to Buzzsprout and it does the work of getting it out there to all the different places, right?
Right. So
Okay.
it's the storage for
Okay.
the video.
Okay.
It also is the scheduler for the release.
Okay.
It once you link it to the different distributors, then it'll automatically push to those every time you put out a new podcast.
Hmm.
It also generates the RSS link so you can embed it into your website.
Okay.
And it has its own like website as well. So you could put that website, say, on your link tree or whatever, and it's got this nice little header, and then it's got all your podcast episodes listed.
Oh,
So
okay.
she showed us that too. So it's like basically www.yourpodcastname.buzzsprout.com, right? But
Okay.
that goes to like a
So it's like a
distinct
nice
landing
landing
page.
page. Okay,
Yes.
cool. Wow, that's a really nice feature. Do other programs that y'all or platforms y'all looked into have that same sort of feature, or is that one of the main reasons you wanted to go with Buzzsprout?
I have not been researching these different ones, to be perfectly honest.
Okay.
But we found one that we basically had been referred to from a reputable source, and then we got to see it hands-on and good enough, right?
You know what? That's about the level of research I want to do into all of these different programs and platforms. Like, it may not be the best, it might be, who knows? But like, if it gets a solid
Good
recommendation,
enough.
let's send it.
Yeah. So no, I don't know. No, that wasn't the deciding factor,
Okay.
to be
Okay.
honest.
Hmm.
Not at all.
Well,
Um,
and you mentioned something before we got on and record, and we're like, no, we need to record this. So you mentioned that it has like the purchase plans. You can select a certain number of hours a month that you can basically have new recordings, like that many hours worth of recording
uploads.
sent out, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So another incentive to not sit on all your podcasts because then you'd use up all those hours as soon as you go to release it, but rather you
God,
just,
that's a good point. You gotta do it like right at the end of one month, maybe, and then maybe that's why she did it that way.
okay, right.
You can also pay an extra couple bucks
Mhm.
for additional hours if you don't want to upgrade to like to a larger plan. So
Right.
like at launch, maybe you would have, like, say you needed like 4 hours and the plans are like 3 and 6. If
Hmm.
you needed 4 hours, then you just get the 3 hours a month plan and then pay the extra $4 for that extra hour at launch that first month. You can
Okay.
also like piecemeal it like that.
Okay, that's good to know. Yeah, that was another little caveat I found a bit odd that there was a limit on the number of hours of new content you could put up. But then, as you said, the site continues to host all of the old podcasts. So it's not like those disappear or something or roll out.
There is a free version that I want to say only hosts for 90 days.
Okay.
I don't know exactly how that works in the
Mhm.
sense that, does that mean no one can listen to that episode, or as long as you get it to distributors, then I don't know.
Mm,
I
okay.
don't know how that works, but that did not sound like what we wanted. We wanted
Y'all
something
go
that
your
was
boat
gonna
on.
store the videos for us. I worry about like storage space on like a computer, or
Mhm.
I mean, to have like an external drive or a Dropbox or something for all these large video files.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So then it also it holds all of that storage so that you're okay. Because I actually today was realizing that my Zoom cloud for my meetings that I've been recording, and I like to post them to my community so people who can't attend live can see the playbacks and still engage that way. So I posted those as, linked to the Zoom, but my Zoom storage is already full after only 2 months of meetings of 3 times a week. So I am having to use Dropbox, and I'm still using their free version because I don't have so much, I don't need that much storage yet, but I'm having to basically download the files to my computer, upload them to Dropbox, and then share that Dropbox link over to my community page. But it sounds like the Buzzsprout might be a better place to host some of that. I'm not sure though, perhaps not.
I mean, it would cut into your 3 hours or 6 hours worth of time. Because that's
Oh,
not just distribution, that's upload to Buzzsprout, as far as I understand.
okay. Okay. Right. So that may be something I would need in addition to, what I'm doing with Dropbox hosting my Zoom meetings. Because really my Zoom meetings are not going to be content that's widely disseminated, that they're not set up to be a podcast that anyone can listen to. It's for
Mm.
community members. So yeah, sorry, just
I
thinking
mean,
about
and you
this
may
in that way.
find that like having like months worth of playbacks doesn't make sense. Maybe you keep a month worth, which
Mhm.
is 4 of each type of meeting, right? Because you've got like 3 different types, 3 different categories of meetings.
Mhm.
So maybe you don't need to have more than a month's worth to listen for people to listen back on,
Right, right. Yeah, I think
unless
the
it's just
value
a
in the
special time.
playbacks will be when I start having maybe some guest speakers come and do Q&As, like then those I of course would want to continue to host. But you're right, I don't know that people a year from now are going to want to see these meetings with just a handful of people. Um,
Well, I
yeah,
just think you might eventually run out of space.
yeah, yeah. Which again is why I'm having to use this third-party storage, hosting site, which anyways. Yeah, so circling back to Buzzsprout, because there's definitely more to unpack there, or I guess maybe you're using Buzzsprout in combo with some other programs. Do you want to talk about those?
Yeah, so Buzzsprout is just the host and distributor, so you will need something else for your recording and editing.
Mhm.
There's some things that you can do all in one.
Okay.
So Stephanie and I just signed up for Descript, which is
Descript?
Descript,
Oh, Descript. Okay.
and they are linked now with Squadcast. And from what I understand, because we literally just did this like an hour ago,
Uh-huh.
Squadcast is sort of the free add-on recording place, and then Descript is the editing, merging, layering of video place.
Mhm.
Um, yeah.
And you can use Descript as like to help edit your videos because it generates a transcript of what is said, and then you can go in and edit out whatever you don't want to be included in the video, and it uses AI technology to cut those pieces out and then produce a video that's a lot more polished based on, taking out the little side tangent that oops, you kind of went down and would rather not include, right?
That is my understanding.
Okay, so that is a bit like I am really interested in that because I have made a handful of YouTube videos and they are not the best, but they have been so tedious to have to edit because I've wanted to edit out every one of my transition words, so and and a little thing here or there
Mm.
that just doesn't need to be there. And it takes a long time, like hours. So, it's also been a barrier for me in getting back out there and making more YouTube videos because I know that the editing, it's not just sitting down and recording and showing up and sharing content. It's the stuff on the back end, the editing, the uploading, and that can really take time. So I'm curious with this program, the Descript and Squadcast combo. We've talked previously about how there are now programs that use AI to take these little soundbite clips out of your video
Mhm,
recording and they pull it out.
mhm.
And sometimes even these AI programs can do this intuitively, so you don't even have to tell them what to pull out. Does
Mhm.
Descript do that as well?
Don't think Descript does, but Buzzsprout does.
Wait, Buzzsprout will take your video that you upload to disseminate and it pulls out little soundbite clips to then use on all the short form places? That's
Yes, ma'am.
insane. That's incredible value.
Because at that point, it's already edited.
Mhm.
It's already in its like final form.
Mhm.
And there are other ones that do this too. This is not the whole transcript editing is not unique to Descript. Riverside does it too. And so I imagine if I looked in and researched some of the other ones, there are a number of them that do it as well.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you've mentioned Riverside, so I'm interested in looking into that one for me.
There are a lot of big podcasts that use Riverside as their platform. You call into it like a Zoom room. So you can share the link and have people join, and you can manage the like hosting and the screen sharing and stuff. It's much higher like recording quality than Zoom does. So you can do your recording in there, and then it is linked to Anchor, which is Spotify's free version of a hosting and distributing podcast platform.
Okay.
And I don't know a lot about the ins and outs of that, but that's another option. But I do know in the little bit I looked into Riverside, because that's what I was originally thinking we should do.
Yeah, you mentioned that. Do you know, I mentioned to you that I've been told by a few fellow carnivores who host lives on YouTube, and I don't know if they're turning theirs into podcasts or not, but they use a program called StreamYard. Was that one that you ever looked into to see if
never
it
heard of
does the same thing? Okay. I'm not sure if it does the recording and editing, or if it's just like a studio space basically for enhancing your YouTube interviews. So I guess throw that out there if somebody's looking for that specifically. I've been told StreamYard could be helpful.
I mean, there's just a million things out there. That's what makes it so overwhelming, right?
Right.
And it's like you kind of don't even want to research them all, because do you even know what you're looking for until you just start doing it?
Right.
And it's more so like you just pick one and then you commit to learning it, and then you just do it. But that's where my frustration came in today, because so going back to Jessica, she's using the Buzzsprout, but she's doing her recordings on Zoom because she's not doing video, she's just doing audio.
Oh.
So while Zoom is not the best for video playbacks because of the quality and the condensing, she's found it to be fine with audio, and she paid for like a different feature for like the audio mastery. I want to say that's on Buzzsprout. They have like an added feature you can pay for that like really enhances the audio quality. So she's opted to do that.
Okay.
Because she knows Zoom and she's comfortable with Zoom. That limits her ability to create short form videos for TikTok or YouTube or Instagram or whatever, because it's just audio right now.
Right.
But it is a simplified process because of that. And then what she's using to edit in, like to add her intro and her outro and do any sort of like editing, is CapCut.
Okay. And that's what I've used is CapCut.
Okay.
Video editing.
So I've been using Clipchamp, which is Microsoft's, like it just comes with my computer, version. And the way CapCut looks is very similar to Clipchamp, where you basically you import in your different files, your audio files, video files, still images, whatever. And then you just drag them to the editing bar at the bottom, do cuts, reorganize, fade in and out, and then you export. Once you get it, the way you want, you export it onto your computer, and then you can upload it to YouTube, upload it to whatever, Buzzsprout. And that's what Jessica's doing. And she's recording on Zoom, getting the Zoom, audio, editing it in CapCut, exporting an MP3 file, because it's MP3 since it's just audio and not video. Video would be MP4. And then she uploads it to Buzzsprout. Now, personally, I didn't like the sound of having to export and then upload, because I know the technology is out there to just simply go from one service to the other. But it was hard to know if that was just a feature that particular service didn't have, or just one she wasn't utilizing. And since Stephanie had another knew another person who's been doing podcasts for a while that really swore by Descript and how easy it was and how much they liked it. That's why we ultimately decided to go with Descript over CapCut.
Okay. Yeah. And then that I would say is where some of the frustration comes in because you'd been using the Clipchamp and like you said, pretty similar to CapCut in how you do it, but all of a sudden Descript uses a different approach that's, doesn't seem as intuitive to you.
I hate it.
It's
I
written
don't get
very
it.
nice.
The words don't make sense. Okay, so let me try to describe it for people. So instead of like CapCut where you have the bar at the bottom where you add your audio and overlay it with the video and you could have a little line that travels across, it looks like you're making a PowerPoint presentation. So on the left-hand side bar, there's these little like, slides, right? Which is like a still image of your video. And then in the center is like your transcript, because that's where you can do your editing that then cuts portions of the video.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some intuitive features like it'll automatically, you can press a button and it'll take out filler words and that sort of thing.
Okay.
So that's nice. But that's just not, I tried, I like uploaded one of mine and Stephanie's podcast episodes that we already have edited, that's already on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And I put that in there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was just needing to add a recorded intro and a recorded outro.
Mm-hmm.
And it kept, like, it would let me add a new layer, which was concerning to me because I don't want it overlaid.
Right.
I want it before,
Right.
right? And I couldn't figure out how to do it before. There didn't seem to be, I would try to add a file. It wouldn't even pull up the files that were already imported into Descript. Because I had recorded the intro in Descript, like using the service.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I just got extremely frustrated having to learn a new program because I just don't like it.
I know. I know. There's so many new things that we have to learn and figure out. And for those of us who are not whizzes with technology, it's an extra learning curve. It's an extra, layer of just really having to dig in. And we don't always want to do that. I don't.
Well, and I really I prefer when someone shows me what to do, but watching the like manufactured how-to videos, you spend so much time seeing things you're not trying to see, and it's so hard to find what it is you're actually looking for.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden I was getting frustrated because I was like, is this not really an editing software? Is this more like, if they're really into like enhance your video,
Mhm.
adjust the, AI eye contact so makes it look like you're always looking at the camera, enhance, the green screen or do these features. And I was like, is it all just add-on features to something you have to edit in a totally different software? Because I'm mad if that's the case, because
Yeah.
that's not what I'm looking for. I
Mhm.
mean, it touts itself as like an all-in-one editor or
Mhm.
whatever, but it's not feeling intuitive to me. And it
Right.
was lunchtime and I was hangry. And so I had to get off of there. And I think maybe Stephanie's figured it out now. And I'm going to
Mhm.
hop on a Zoom call with her later and get her to show me how to do it because
Mhm.
whew, I was frustrated. I don't
Yeah.
want to have to learn a new thing.
I know.
Like,
You call me, I could tell as soon as I answered the phone, you're just so frustrated. Oh, Cynthia. It stinks. Yeah. You want to just like dig in and focus on the content creation or, whatever it is your passion is taking you, you know,
just so excited to see the results Jessica was getting with her downloads and everything. And it was like, oh, we already have the content. All we need to do is subscribe to these services, get it uploaded,
Mhm.
done, right?
Right.
And then to like suddenly meet this roadblock.
Uh-huh.
Mm.
Back in the editing stages. I know. Yeah. I'm really glad you're figuring it out because I'm going to be having you get on a Zoom call and share your screen to show me because
Oh,
it's a lot.
okay.
It's a lot. So glad you're a go-getter.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so funny because I called you earlier right after my meeting with Jessica, and
Mhm.
I was like, this is great.
You
I'm
were.
so excited. I got compliments on my book and my plan for my memoir and on, my Instagram and stuff.
Mhm. Yeah.
And then I got hit with the technology, over the side of my head.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, it can be frustrating for sure. I've been there. I mean, like I said, I've spent hours doing any kind of editing and, it's not like I'm super thrilled with the results. It still looks very amateur, which, again, just kind of, you got to get over some of that. There's all these programs out there and you can spend a ton of money trying to, purchase these programs and have access to all their features and their pro features and whatnot. And that might be helpful for some people, but, so far I've gotten by with bare minimum, just using like the free version, CapCut, and spending the hours and the time editing. But I don't want to keep doing that for much longer. I might do the next round of videos that way. But then after that, going into the new year, I really would like to move away from that and have some help in that department because your time is valuable, right? And,
Mhm.
if you don't like it, if you don't want to do it, farm it out if possible. And now we've got these wonderful assistants. We refer to these assistants in our lives. It's AI, man. AI, Chat GTP. And apparently AI can make you look at the camera so you don't even have to work on that social skill habit yourself. That's a little wild to me, but I'll accept
Yeah,
it.
and then making those clips at the end,
Yeah,
where
pulling out the
you
sound
can
bite.
set like, I want a minute and a half clip. I want a whatever.
Yeah. Phenomenal. I mean, that's really going to transform how easy it is because you'll get to a point, and this is the thing that you got to remember in these early days. In the beginning, the learning curve is steep. In the beginning, you are tackling so many new mountains every single day. There will come a time where all you and Stephanie have to do is hit record, and everything else is a seamless process. And it does not take the same emotional and mental stamina and energy like it does now. But there is
Right.
something to be said about having to continue to be in the trenches with this stuff in the early days. And bear in mind, the early days are not where you're seeing that astronomical growth. It's not where you're seeing the results that you hope to see. I mean, your friend that you spoke with, she's already being met with some pretty good success, it sounds like. But
Mhm.
she's 7 podcasts into it. Like that's a decent chunk. She's probably gotten through a big part of that initial learning curve, and now she's
Right.
seeing the results. But you're at that beginning stage, and it takes so much time and diligence and patience.
Yeah, I'm not feeling patient
No, I can tell. That's okay.
today.
Yeah.
It's like the quote unquote end of the work week, right?
Mhm.
'Cause it's Thursday, school isn't in session on Fridays here. It's a 4-day school week. So tomorrow kicks off the weekend. So this is my last day to get like any kind of like real work done, kid free. And I was doing really good in the morning.
You've
I mean,
gotten
I did some
so much
writing in
done
my
today.
book,
Mhm.
right? So just a ton of stuff. I can already, chalk this day up to being a highly productive day.
Very.
But yeah, yeah, patience is not there at the moment.
No, that's okay. Patience more in the terms of like grand scheme, weeks view, months long view. Yeah, it's okay if you don't have patience in the moment. I rarely do. I mean,
I mean, I'm almost 100% confident by next week I'll know how to use this program. I'm just
mhm,
irritated that what I thought was going to be like a fairly seamless process of getting the already edited videos from YouTube onto some podcast platforms
mhm,
is not as seamless as I was
mhm.
naively hoping it would be.
Right. Well, and like you said, it sounds like Stephanie's figured it out. So maybe it was just something kind of simple that language you didn't understand, whatever they were calling certain things, like how you're like layers, wait, layers, that's not what I wanted. Hopefully it's pretty easy. I really, I want that good news. I want to know that it's going to be easy and I'll pick it up fast and it'll be worthwhile.
To see if it were easy, everyone would do it,
Ain't that the truth?
but we'll figure it out.
We will. We'll get there. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So now that you're at this point where I can tell you're a little drained, you're a little done, you're kind of over
I'm
it.
so done. I'm
You have
so done.
been productive since the minute you woke up. So what are you going to do for the afternoon for your self-care? Like, how are you going to recharge?
I haven't figured that part out yet because I have eh, 30 minutes until I need to hop on another call with Stephanie
Oh no.
for her to show me that. And then I got to start my side hustle of some pet sitting. So I got to get packed up and get you know, my food packed up, my clothes packed up and everything to go over to a house to do some pet sitting and get this guy set up to be here
Oh,
alone. So,
well, sorry.
um, yeah. Um, so I don't know that there will be a whole lot, unfortunately.
Thank goodness
But
it's your Friday.
like I said, like this is the last day of the quote unquote work week.
Mhm.
Um, whatever I do this weekend, I mean, I do have a kid-free weekend. It's not my weekend for custody, so I may dabble in some of this when I feel like it, or I may just relax. The house I'm going to has a hot tub, so I will be in that hot tub.
Okay, perfect.
Um,
Yeah.
that'll be nice. I
My
might have to like rake off the 3 inches of snow off the cover, but I'll be out there.
awesome. Yeah, that'll be good. That'll help revive you a bit, I think.
Now it's your turn to share your technology stuff. You referenced it a little bit about having to like, you ran out of capacity
Mhm.
Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward. Honestly, the thing I had to tackle today was pretty simple. Basically, I paid for Zoom so that I can have large Zoom meetings with lots of people because, I'm a big time dreamer. When I selected my plan, I probably didn't need to go so big at first. But I did. But it unfortunately only came with 5 GB of storage, and my meetings are an hour long. There are several people talking. The recordings automatically produce a transcript and an audio file in addition to the video recorded file. So I have realized that I'm at 95% full of my cloud storage for my Zoom meetings, my Zoom calls. So I am having to take those calls and download them to my computer and then upload them back to a third-party storage service. I'm using Dropbox right now. It'll be free because I don't need quite that much storage yet, until I reach a point where I need more storage and need to pay for that. Um, which actually will be good because for me, I've also set up one-on-one coaching as an option for potential clients, and I will need to send and have forms signed, via the right pathways. Otherwise, they won't hold up in a court of law. So I can use Dropbox for that as well, sending and having documents signed for contracts. So in the long run, that'll be fine. I'll use that for both storage and for signing documents and maintaining those. But yeah, and then now I'm just having to take those links from the Dropbox third-party storage site and go back and change in my community hosted within the Mighty Networks platform. I'm just having to change those links out from the Zoom links to the Dropbox links. And I'm also adding a thumbnail in there, which overall is creating a much better visual experience for any user in there. Again, it doesn't, not a big deal, but it's also not necessarily helping me move forward. It's just helping me clean up some things that I've done in the past. And I'll just say, there are times where you just need to do what you got to do to get things done. So maybe I should have been more mindful from the beginning that Zoom wasn't going to be the place to host all of these recordings long term, but that's fine. I'm finding it out now. I'm cleaning up my messes and I'm making sure that what I'm doing going forward is going to be a lot more sustainable, as far as that goes. So it's okay if you got to just kind of scramble at first. I think we will continue to say over and over, just start, just do it, take that first step. Don't hold back. Don't live in your head full of excuses and reasons not to do something. And that's part of it. You're going to have to clean up your mess from time to time and figure out, a different way to do it. Like y'all had your recording for your podcast, but you wanted to go and add an intro and an outro. And that'll definitely enhance the overall quality of your final product. I'm really impressed that y'all are doing that even, by the way, but I think it will, it's like you just do what you can in the moment and then you can add on these other pieces later.
Well, the reality is no one's going to even hear this podcast until I figure out how to post the other one, because then once I figure out how that works, then
Mhm.
I'll put these episodes through the same system
Yeah.
and then get them out there. But, I'm going to learn how to do it for one versus, yeah.
hmm Yeah.
So,
You learn one program, you'll be able to use it in two places, and it's worth the time that it takes to go through that step of learning something new.
right,
Yeah,
right.
it's a good thing. Tedious, but good. Yeah. Well, I think
Yeah.
that sums up the nitty-gritty of the day. I don't think we need to draw this one out too much longer. Um, what do you think? Any other technology pieces we want to talk about at the moment? Maybe something that we've had to do up to this point?
No, I'm over it.
Done. Love it. Done. All right.
Glad we recorded this one.
Yeah, yeah, this is good. This is good. All right, sounds good. Well, until next time, Sissy.
Bye, Susie.
Oh yeah, we're supposed to say a little outro or something. Let's get in the habit.
No, we don't do that here. We can just clip it in at the beginning and then at the end, it'll be a canned thing. It'll have music going with it
I love
and
it.
it'll start right now.
You're the best.